Okay, this is my rabbit cage out on the dirt. So I've built a big, like, long tractor thing out of this 2" by 2" wire. It's actually really big for me to carry around. It was a good idea, but I'm actually going to cut it down later on, but I use it as part of my wall for this rabbit cage. But in here, what I've done is, you can see, I just moved my rabbits the other day, so I've grown. You can see that patch of alfalfa back there, but this is where they were just at. You can see they've ate all the leaves off my alfalfa. But what I've done is, I've got this wire. This one's actually like 1.5" wire, so I can have a little bit smaller rabbits in here, just in case. That stuff's 2 inches, so if it's a smaller rabbit, they can squeeze through it. But what I've done is, this is 48 inches tall, and then I've bent the bottom 6 inches of it into an L shape. So, and then the rest of it's just dirt. And then I've gone around and I've cut it like every 4 feet. And these are in like 16-inch strips, these pieces of metal, or these pieces of wire. So they're 4 feet wide by 16 feet long, and then I've bent the bottom 6 inches of them, and then I've cut the bottom. So down here where my rebar is, down there at the bottom, you can't see it very well, but I've cut the wire so the wire can fold in so that I can bend it. So you see here how it's kind of like round. And then what I do is, I just pound in this rebar real quick with a sledgehammer. It takes me a couple minutes, and then I just throw a wire tie on it. And so I've got this simple cage, and I just throw a tarp over top of it. And what I've done is, I've mowed around it with my lawnmower, because I'm out here in the weeds and stuff. You can see I've mowed some strips. I'm out here in the strips, and I've just mowed it with my lawnmower to make my life easy. And you can see that's why there's nothing like right here against where the wire's at, because I wanted my wire to be sitting flush on the ground. But then you can see here, I've got all my rabbits. I don't know if you can see that little rabbit hiding there in the alfalfa, but then they're just loose out here running around, and I can just let them eat this little area down, and then I just move them to the next area. So I got this area growing right here. I've got to mow right here and mow a strip for my fencing, but that's not a big deal. Just start the lawnmower up and mow it. But I left them in that other area. I've got about 15 rabbits in here, and they were in there for about 2.5 weeks, almost 3 weeks, if I remember right. But yeah, it's really simple. I'm actually going to make this cage a lot more easy to assemble instead of this rebar. I've got the idea on how to do it. I just need to do it. But you can see my big cage here. I just use it as a wall for right now. But eventually I'm going to cut this thing up and make more fencing with it. I haven't had any problems with critters yet. I've got a lot of foxes and raccoons and skunks and stuff out here, but I haven't had too many problems with them, with these loose rabbits. That's why I've only got about 15 out here. I'm just kind of experimenting with this just to see how it goes. That's what this was for, is I built this so I could walk inside of it, and I could have my rabbits, and I could throw it out on my grass or whatever. But I wanted to be able to put like a lot of rabbits in it, because I didn't want to have, like, 10 or 15 lawn tractors out there that I had to move every day. I just kind of wanted to have one big one. But the idea of it was nice, but I made this one 20 feet long, and it's just way too long. So, but that's what I did. It's really, really simple, and it's working so far. The cage I'm going to end up doing is, I'm going to take this, and I'm going to do what I did with the fencing. So I'm going to bend the bottom half of it, and then I'm going to just make a box. I'm just going to make square boxes out of this thing. So it's going to be 16 feet by 10 feet, and I'm going to make L shapes like this. But then I'm going to cut flanges. So I've got flanges right here, so it reinforces it. So I'm going to have pieces of this that are just cut for a flange. So it's attached right here, and then attaches at the bottom to reinforce the wall, so the wall will stand up on its own and not need rebar, and then I can move it around. I'm going to build a couple of these. I'm going to build one of these that's actually just a box, entirely a box. So it's going to have an open hole like this, but it's going to be like 2 inches wide, or 2 feet wide by 4 feet tall. And it's just going to be a box. And I'm going to have plywood down the side, so when I need to move my rabbits, all I do is I push them around the edge of the cage. They come around, and they run right in, and they run in the door. And then the cage is only going to be 16 feet long by 2 feet wide by 4 feet tall. Right now this thing's 4 feet by 4 feet by 20. This is just way too much cage for me to move around right now. So I'm going to cut this thing basically in half and make it half the size, and that's going to be my sides on either side. So I'm going to have 2 box sides and then the sides that go down the front. So this will be my box, and then I'm going to have a piece that goes across the front here over to the other box side, and that's only going to be about 10 feet, 12 feet long, and that's going to be this stuff, and it's just going to be reinforced. And so it'll be really easy, and I can scare all my rabbits into my box cage here and then move my box cage to wherever I'm going to move my rabbits to. So it'll make it really, really nice. But you can see my rabbits. I don't know if you can see that little rabbit in there hiding in them trees or hiding in them weeds right there. But yeah, they do really, really good out here. They've really put on some weight just out here, just running around. I've got this cage open so they can actually get inside this cage. I built a little back piece back here so I could catch them a lot easier, but I've got like a separation, so it's 20 feet, but I've got 4 feet of it back here that's just separated back. But I just planted alfalfa out here on the edge of the property, and it grew really good. I just went and got some loose alfalfa from Dallas Greens and Tractor Supply and just planted it myself, and it come up really good. And I've got some weeds mixed in with it, which doesn't bother me because the rabbits eat it just all the same. But yeah, they just run around. They do really good out here. But I've got to take this stuff here. I've got to mow it so the alfalfa will come back up. So the alfalfa will start growing again, because all they did was eat the leaves off of it. So, okay, that's my rabbit run, dirt pen, whatever you want to call it. But I was just kind of doing this just to kind of test it out and see, because with all the critters and stuff, I didn't want to go to all that work and have it like just completely just fail on me. So I wanted to experiment, and I've had these guys out here. They've been in this section. I just moved them about a week ago, so they've been outside exposed for about a month now. So now that I've basically had success, I'm gonna put a little more work into it, make it a little bit better. But the idea is the tarp will be my roof. So it'll be that cage. So right there where it's tied is my 16-foot mark. So basically that's going to be from that tie to that tie. That's going to be where my cage is going to be. Then it's just going to go straight across to there. I'm going to have another box that goes from each corner. So my tarp will be my roof, but I'll actually get a bigger tarp so it drapes over the cages a little bit. So then I don't have to have a roof. So I'll have my edges, and then my tarp will be my roof, if that makes sense. I don't know if I'm being clear or not. Once I get it made, I'll try to make a video of it just to kind of help you guys out. I've turned this thing on its side. This is actually, so the bottom of this cage is actually right here on the side. Just food for thought while I'm looking at it. This feeder right here, this is a pig feeder while I'm thinking about it. It's a pig feeder. I paid like 20 bucks for it, and it works really good for having tons. That way I don't have to have tons of feeders in here. I can just have this one big feeder, and it's just a baby pig feeder is all it is. So, okay, hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks.